Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Hi, hello, my name is Loey, and I have a video that I've been planning for quite some time now. One of my videos that's not even like one of my most popular videos by any means, but just continues to bring in new subscribers all the time. Well, I guess a string of videos that I did that brings in new subscribers all the time are my childhood ruining conspiracy theory videos. Now, these are all about like cartoons from our childhoods and crazy theories behind them that could literally ruin the entire premise of them and make our childhoods a lot darker than ever before. And you guys just seem to love those. I always feel like people find me through those videos, are always subscribing because of those videos, and it's something I haven't done in like so long. I thought, what better time to do another one of these than during Loey's Little Boo, my celebration of uploading every single day leading up to Halloween. So if you're finding me because of this video, hi, I'm Loey, and I would love if you would take a minute and hit that subscribe button to join our family. We always have a pretty lit time here. Do people say lit anymore? Did I just ruin someone's childhood? So today, instead of doing just any old cartoon conspiracy kind of theory, we're gonna be talking all about our favorite Disney films. And when I was researching, I found a lot of Disney theories, and some of them I've already read before, but all of these, I hope at least, are new to me. If I am talking about any of these for the second time, I definitely did not do as much research as I did the first time that I talked about them, but I think that they're all new because all of these just blew my mind. So the first theory that we're going to be talking about is the theory of Up. And if you've never seen Up before, it is definitely a must-watch. It is a super sad movie, but also a really cute one and really fun and really sweet. And it's kind of, in the beginning anyways, following the story of a man and a woman, or I guess really a little boy and a little girl, as they fall in love, and then, you know, they go through life and they age, and eventually, no spoilers here, it happens pretty quickly in the movie, the wife Ellie passes away. Well, there's a pretty big Reddit theory out there that I'm going to be telling you guys about, and it is that Carl actually died quite a while ago, and the entire movie of Up is him accepting what's happened to him and moving into the afterlife. This one comes from the Reddit user Boobonus, who posted this literally 6 years ago, and I'm just gonna read it to you guys because it is a trip. TLDR, Carl Fredrickson died in his sleep the night after he returns from court with the order that he vacate to a retirement home as a result of the incident with a construction worker in the mailbox. Everything that happened afterwards represents Carl's journey through the afterlife. The basis of this theory goes that, of course, the amount of balloons that was lifted to lift the house could not have actually been the amount of balloons needed. And, you know, I mean, of course, this is a fictional story, but the writer says that that amount of balloons could never just rip a house out of the ground and sail it into the air. The next chunk of this theory is that Russell is actually Carl's spirit guide. He's a guardian angel of sorts who is almost trying to win his badge for helping Carl peacefully transition into the afterlife, and that's why we see him covered in all of those badges. You know, I think that it's a bit of a stretch, but it makes sense when you put it into the context of this theory. All of the badges leading up until this point were kind of helping to test Russell and prepare him for this final task, which will hopefully help him get his wings. When you put it that way, it seems a lot sadder than ever before, even though this movie has some pretty sad moments. And in a weird way, this kind of makes sense because how pure and innocent and sweet Russell is throughout the entire film changes the way that Carl acts. Honestly, he turns from being a grouchy old man into someone much kinder and softer. So maybe in a way, Russell is helping him transition from grouchy old man into a purer and more high vibrating being, close to an angel, which he would need to be in order to transition into heaven. There's a bit here about Doug the dog and how his translation color doesn't really make any sense. This is supposed to be another clue into how what's happening in the movie isn't really reality, but the bigger part here is that Doug is supposedly a symbol of sorts from transitioning from one side to the other, because Doug came from Muntz, who is evil and, you know, had these evil and like wicked ways, and he transitions over to being Russell and Carl's kind of dog. And it's supposed to be a symbol of how Carl is transitioning from, you know, this one part of life to the next. And that part is a little, I'm just gonna kind of push that back because it's not a massive piece of evidence. Now, the house itself plays a pretty major role because it is literally a symbol of Carl's physical attachment to the world, and Paradise Falls is his sort of idea of heaven. So once the house lands there, his journey ends and he can begin his life in heaven. This Redditor admits there are several holes in this theory and kind of lists out some scientific backing. So I'll have the source for that linked down below if you guys want to do some extra reading on this and dig a little bit deeper. But I think it's definitely a fascinating theory and changes the entire movie of Up when you really think about it that way. Of course, none of these are concrete. None of these can be what the writers were thinking about, but it is something where when you sit back and you think about it and it starts to all fall in place, it makes things a little bit spooky and sad, and it totally changes the entire movie. This next theory may not be so far-fetched, and it may also not even be pulled out of nothing, because we know very well that there is a Pixar theory that connects all of the movies to each other. There is also several Disney theories that connect all of the movies to each other. And Disney and Pixar, they like to leave Easter eggs in each and every movie, kind of tying everything back into place. So this one's really not as far-fetched as the last one, but the next one is about Brave, and you guys may have heard this one before. People believe that the witch in Brave is actually an old woman version of Boo from Monsters, Inc. You heard me right. The biggest piece of evidence supporting this is that in Brave, and this is like real, like you can go and find it, there is a carving of Sully in a piece of wood in the witch's cabin. Now that's a really distinct place to just leave a carving of Sully. And it definitely looks like him. At the end of Monsters, Inc., Sully, of course, fixed Boo's door, and we hear her laughing as he walks into the room. I cried 50 times while watching it. So clearly she was still able to use that door. So what if she used it to go between worlds or travel times even? This is either something where Brave takes place in a very weird, distant future where it's kind of dystopian and we don't really know what's going on, or Boo can actually time travel into the past. There's also a scene in Brave where the witch is making a wooden carving of a truck, which means she had to have been in a time period before where she had seen a truck, and there's clearly nothing like that in the movie Brave in like medieval Scotland. There is the possibility that she can just see into the future, and this is why she carved the truck. Weirdly enough, it looks exactly like the truck from Toy Story. Another clue is that in Monsters University, there is a scene where Sully is walking past a door that says A113, and in the movie Brave, in Roman digits is the same exact number for seemingly no reason. You guys are gonna have to tell me what you think about this one. Do you think it's legit, or do you think it's just an Easter egg where they were trying to plant some things from Monsters, Inc. into this movie? Also, let me know your thoughts down below on whether you think Boo is a time traveler or whether you think Brave is set in a very distant and dystopic future. Speaking of dystopic futures, there is a theory out there that muses whether or not Aladdin is set when we think it is either. In the movie, Genie constantly makes pop culture references. He says in the movie that he had been stuck in the lamp for 10,000 years. That would make this a pretty far distance in the future. This theory kind of changes, I mean, everything. It would take the magic carpet from being a magical flying carpet and make it into a very advanced piece of technology that has long since been forgotten about by the time that it is like unearthed in Aladdin. If Aladdin is a very far ways in the future, it definitely changes the entire, I mean, it doesn't even change the entire movie, it just changes the way that I personally would look at it. I mean, imagine if we were like tens of thousands of years into the future and everything had reverted back to like such simple and basic times. It would be very sad. But I think that this one is just people trying to kind of piece together that Disney timeline and maybe taking things just a step too far. I don't think that I buy into this one that hard. I definitely don't think that Genie making any kind of pop culture references with anything other than Disney having fun at the time and, you know, making jokes that the adults would get when they were in theaters watching the movie. Let me know what you guys think of that one. There are also theories that try to say that Aladdin was, of course, back in the past because supposedly Belle is reading about Aladdin in Beauty and the Beast. The evidence of her reading a book about Aladdin, of course, being that when the librarian says that she has read that book twice, she replies with, well, it's my favorite. Far off places, daring sword fights, magic spells, and a prince in disguise. Little mini tiny Aladdin theory to finish this off because it's all in the same article. What if, just take a minute here, what if Aladdin was just a made-up story that the merchant made up to try to sell you the lamp? Remember the intro of Aladdin when the merchant is trying to sell you the lamp? What if we were never actually seeing Aladdin at all? What if it was all a made-up story and my brain hurts? Okay, so these last two theories are going to be a little bit about the Disney timeline. And this first one, or I guess now we're on a number 4 for this, this one might be one again that you've already heard of, and it has pretty well not even been confirmed. It's something that's kind of common knowledge at this point. That is the theory that Elsa and Anna from Frozen are related to Rapunzel. There is hard evidence that they exist in the same timeline and in the same universe because there is literal footage of Flynn and Rapunzel entering Arendelle after it opens its gate. So we know that they exist in the same universe, but this theory takes it a step further, saying that they are in fact related. This is obviously after Tangled because Rapunzel has cut off her hair and it is short and brown and spiky and adorable, but clearly it happens after Tangled, and it's kind of obvious because Frozen was released literally 3 years after Tangled. So if the real life timeline and then the fictional timeline add up, of course it took place after. Supposedly Anna and Elsa's parents were on their way to Rapunzel and Flynn's wedding when their ship went down, and nobody has ever, I think, truly confirmed this, but the co-director of Frozen honestly kind of jumped in during a Reddit Ask Me Anything and said that Anna and Elsa's parents may or may not have survived the crash and also may or may not be Tarzan's parents. Now, the queen in Tangled and the king in Frozen look super similar, and this would explain why Elsa has her powers, since clearly they run in the family. I have honestly seen a lot of theories that say that actually Elsa and Rapunzel are the sisters. But regardless, when Anna and Elsa have the accident where Elsa hurts Anna with her magic and the king immediately goes to the trolls for help, it would make a lot of sense. He literally saw his niece being kidnapped because of her magical powers by a jealous, crazy witch. So it would make sense why he would be so nervous about this. It could also just be that, of course, one of his daughters was hurt in an incident involving magic. I can understand both ways. Honestly, this theory goes even deeper than that, and it's something I will explore in a different video if you guys want a serious, hardcore Disney timeline conspiracy theory, but it is very detailed and there's a lot of kind of stuff backing it up, but that's the most prominent one that people talk about a lot, and it's one of like the most, like, I don't know, just one of the most concrete Disney theories ever. Like, I truly believe that there is something there. I just wonder if anyone will ever confirm it. Maybe we'll have an epic crossover one day. I briefly mentioned Tarzan, and again, I can talk all about Anna and Elsa's parents possibly being Tarzan's parents in a different kind of Disney timeline video if you guys are interested. But today I want to talk about the possibility that Jane from Tarzan could be Belle from Beauty and the Beast's daughter. And this one seemed super far-fetched to me, and then I read everything and then I was like, oh, maybe not. Now, one of the biggest things that ties all of this together is the fact that in Tarzan there is a teapot set that, I mean, it just, let's go out and say it, it looks like Mrs. Potts and all of the teacups from that set. I mean, it looks like the teacup set from Beauty and the Beast. Now, at the end of Beauty and the Beast, of course, everyone turns into a human, which would render any inanimate objects, again, as inanimate. So it's not that Mrs. Potts is being thrown into the, you know, Tarzan universe. It's just that that tea set was. And could it just be an Easter egg from Disney? Yes. But there's a little bit too much here that ties it all together. So Look at Belle's dress and Jane's dress side by side. This was something I never really put two and two together of, but it's super interesting when you look at them side by side. It's a very similarly cut dress, and I guess it kind of like puts me back and makes me wonder, why is Jane wearing that dress anyway? Maybe it's because it is an heirloom of her mother. Jane's father is also just as weird and eccentric as Belle's father in Beauty and the Beast. So maybe he is a grandson of Belle? It's kind of hard to ignore that Jane is also into a beast of sorts in Tarzan, who is of course a man, but he was raised by wild animals. So it kind of coincides with how Belle was in love with a beast. That's really all the detail that there is to it, but when you sit back and you really think about it, I think it definitely adds up. And this is one that I want to believe, kind of, because I feel like we never really got a like hard resolution for Beauty and the Beast. Of course, everything goes back to normal. We never got to see what they did for the rest of their lives. I'm sure there was a weird Disney sequel or two, but I never watched it. And I would love to think that they had kids that then went on and, you know, had these crazy adventures, and then it turns out that Jane is like her great granddaughter or something. That's gonna be it for this conspiracy theory video. Let me know what you guys think of this down below. Thank you all so very much for watching, and if you did enjoy this video, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you all so very much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.